One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question, where we highlight executive leaders in college athletics. Our guest today is Dr. Chris Kimball. Chris is currently the President and Chief Executive Officer at California Lutheran University down in Southern California. He's been in that position since 2008. Greetings, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Ty. I appreciate being on with you.
Now, Chris, your background, you're a historian. You studied history. You studied the history of sport, baseball ballparks. You're working on a project that emphasizes, where people play baseball and history of baseball ballparks. You served for 5 years as the chair of the President's Council for the Southern California Intercollegiate Athletics Conference. You're currently on the NCAA Division III Management Council. So it sounds, from the outside looking in, like athletics is important to you there at Cal Lutheran. I wonder if you can discuss your view of athletics and how it helps to enhance the academic mission really on campuses across the country and then specifically there at Cal Lutheran.
Well, I appreciate the question, Ty. It's a great one, and I appreciate you listing all the ways I've been involved with athletics. I even add that back in the day when I was a faculty member at another D3 school, I was the faculty athletics rep, the FAR. So I've always had interest in and involvement with collegiate athletics as well as studying it as an area in my history field. So it's something that's real important to me. And I think the point you're making of the connection between academics and athletics is really at the heart of the matter. For Cal Lutheran, and I know it's true for a lot of other schools, we talk about educating the whole person. And that means you're really trying to develop them academically, physically, and spiritually. And that's what the college experience is about. And I believe, and all of us out here believe, that as you strengthen and grow and develop in one area, you're doing it in the other areas too. So that physical involvement, and that's intercollegiate athletics, sure, it's intramurals too, health and wellness, etc. But if you're stronger there, you're going to be stronger in the classroom, and you're going to be stronger in your own personal, spiritual, religious life, whatever it may be. So the whole understanding is built on the need to have athletics. And for us, and again, I think it's true for most D3 institutions, we have a lot of students that want the opportunity to live out their calling as an athlete while furthering their education. And to be able to compete at a Cal Lutheran is really important to them. And competition's built in. For a lot of humans, we like to compete. If you're going to compete, let's do it in a sport. If you're going to do it, let's keep score, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an opportunity for the young people that come to Cal Lutheran to be able to continue to do something that means a lot to them, athletics, whatever their sport or sports may be, while also doing those other parts of the collegiate experience. So the two go hand in hand. Athletics for us involves intercollegiate. About a third to a quarter of our student body are involved every year, and I know it's higher at some other places. So it is a major, major part of the CalLU experience. The other thing I would say is, you sometimes hear folks say, hey, athletics works against academics. It's not true. It's the complete opposite. You know this. You look at D3, and the institutions that are strongest athletically are also the ones that are strongest academically. The two reinforce each other. You look at the Learfield Cup stand, you go right down the list. The two go hand in hand. And I think we've found, like other places are, that students that come that want to compete in athletics are good students. They're structured. They get in programs. And, busy people get more done than people who aren't doing anything. And athletes are a great example of that. So to me, the two, athletics and academics, go hand in hand. They reinforce each other. And the better one is, the better the other is going to be.
Right. I agree. And maybe it was a couple of years ago, you released your 2022 strategic plan, addressing a number of things and improvements and enhancements you want to do there at Cal Lutheran for the constituency, for the campus, etc. And while it doesn't say athletics specifically is that term. There are a lot of things listed that seem like athletics are included in it. You talk about inclusion, equity, you talk about innovation, you talk about investment, internationalization. Can you give us your thoughts on how athletics fits into the strategic plan that you created there at Cal Lutheran?
Well, I'm really grateful you took a look at the strategic plan, you pulled out the key points in it, and you're right, there's not a lot in there that speaks to athletics directly, but it runs through the whole document. For example, out here in California, we live in a pretty diverse area. I think probably every culture and race and religion in the world is represented in Southern California. And for our university and for our athletic teams to represent and serve those communities, you have to be an inclusive campus environment. And the same would be for international students. You mentioned that as well. There are a number of sports in which international students like to come to the U.S. and compete. And they need to be felt to be welcome here. So we see inclusion and athletics going together real neatly. We have a section on investment. That is where the university is going to put resources. And frankly, that includes a number of athletic facilities that we still need to build, others that we need to enhance and revise. And so we want to make sure that that's something that we tend to. At D3, athletics are not hugely expensive, of course, but they do, like any other program, take resources, and we want to make sure we're providing enough for our students to have a successful, good experience. And then we like to talk about innovation in our strategic plan. Basically, we're still a pretty young university for a private one. We're about 50-some years old. And we got to keep redefining who we are, keep doing new things to make sure that we're relevant to what students and their families are looking for. You have certain things that are core values. You'd always do those, but we've got to look and adjust. And so in recent years, we've added about 6 JV teams, a couple of varsity sports, most recently men's volleyball, and then we're going to be launching women's lacrosse. And that's part of being relevant and attractive to potential students, student athletes. And so athletics are an area where that innovative spirit, being willing to try new things and experiment, is part of who we are and part of what we want to do out to 2022 under this strategic plan.
Right. Well, one of the things you touched on there, I have a saying, it's that the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And if athletics is a place that people want to come and participate there on campus at Cal Lutheran, those people have fans and followers and brothers and sisters and cousins that watch them. And if the environment is created and really maintained, then that follows along with the student body. And of course, you see that at big time campuses around the country, that when athletics does great, people want to come. So to hear and see a president emphasize that specifically in a strategic plan has to make people there at Cal Lutheran very happy and appreciative.
Well, I sure hope so. And you make a great point that, again, even at D3, where we're not playing in front of 90,000 people, but still, you get folks on campus and off, the friends, the families, the neighbors. Our community out here is very supportive of the university. They get excited about coming and watching our teams play, and our teams love having fans in the stands that get excited about them. And we were talking about academics earlier. In addition to having growing crowds at our games, every year we have more and more student athletes inducted into our Scholar Athlete Society because of their high GPAs. And we do an event every spring, and to see that grow, and it's not just because the student athletes are there, but they're bringing their families and their friends. And it's become kind of a huge event because they capture that part of the excitement too. So you're exactly right when you describe how important it is for a campus.
It is. Now, you mentioned you were an FAR, and of course you were for 5 years, the chair of the President's Council for the conference there, and you currently serve on the NCAA Division III Management Council. How has that time and service to athletics, right? Athletics in the college athletics industry, how has that expanded your thoughts on the influence of athletics on college campuses around the country? Because, once you get on that management council, now you're talking to other presidents and other executive leaders around the country and understanding what they're dealing with and what they're going through and how the decisions made at that level can affect the experience that a student athlete has on a campus around the country. Can you talk about how that time has expanded your thoughts on athletics?
Well, there's been so much I've had the opportunity to learn. As you say, you get a chance to sit down with other presidents from schools around the country, athletics directors, FARs, conference commissioners, senior women's administrators, student athletes themselves through the SACs, around a chance to really learn from them what their experience is like, and including, hey, there's a takeaway. There's something we can do at our campus that they're doing that's really, really good. So there's that kind of learning. There's also the opportunity to really understand the complexities of what goes on in operating intercollegiate athletics on any of our campuses, from scheduling to travel to compliance with the NCAA rules. In fact, today I was reading the report on our discussion and action around snacks. So, presidents, we tend to take the big picture, step back, and it's always a good reminder to say, well, you can pass this piece of legislation, but here's the impact it's going to have on people on the ground. And so you always got to say, does this help student athletes? If so, let's do it. If it hurts them, let's not. So I would describe it as a tremendous learning experience, and also one that tells us how much, at D3 anyway, we have in common. The importance of athletics on all of our campuses, the importance of the student-athlete experience. You realize, hey, we share a lot of things, and you wouldn't get that if you're just staying on your own campus. So I've been just real lucky to be able to be part of those conversations and around those tables.
I'm sure the director of athletics there at Cal Lutheran, the staff, and the student-athletes all appreciate that you have a tremendous amount of care for the importance of athletics on campus there.
I hope they do. And I got to say, they are an incredibly hardworking, talented bunch. We got great athletic administrators and terrific coaches, and I think it's one reason our student athletes just have a great experience here. So I'm just real blessed to be able to work with them.
Well, this has been an excellent conversation, Dr. Kimball, and I really appreciate you joining us here on One Question.
Well, Ty, thank you very much. It's been great to talk to you. I appreciate the work that you've been doing. Keep it up. It's for a good cause.
That was Dr. Chris Kimball. He's the president and chief executive officer at California Lutheran University. And of course, this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.